section, and this is another installment of Restricted Section, After Dark. In case you have not seen this segment before, this is where I review a horror erotica short story. And I was inspired to do this because I got this collection of horror erotica short stories called Hot or Blood, which is edited by Jeff Gelb and Michael Garrett. I got this at a library sale. I think it's a hidden gem, kind of. And so for this installment, I'm going to be reviewing a story called Change of Life by Chet Williamson. Oh, just a disclaimer, I do not keep these spoiler-free because I got some feedback that said that you guys don't care if I spoil these endings, and so I'm going to spoil the shit right out of them. And this is a story about a dude named Drew who is very adaptable, and everyone likes him because he's able to basically just present himself as whatever he feels like they need him to be. And so he goes on I believe he's on a business trip, and he checks into a hotel, flirts with a lady at the bar, and goes back to his room. And he hears a child out in the hallway, and the child's trying to open his hotel room door, and he gets irritated at this, so he growls at the kid. The kid calls him a bear. He then promptly turns into one. And so he ends up trying to track the kid down, and he knocks on the kid's hotel room door, and the kid says, "Oh, it's just a man at the door, Mom." So he turns back into a man. So then at the end of the story, he is having sex with the woman from the bar at the hotel, and she calls him a stud bull, and he then promptly turns into one. And the moral of the story is, and I'm going to read directly from this, he thought that perhaps there was such a thing as being too adaptable. This is one of the shorter stories in here. This is only, let's see, it goes from page 67 to page 71, so it's only 4 pages long. This was one of the dumber stories that I've read in here. It's just silly, and it's not scary, and it is not erotic, really. There's one kind of sex scene at the end of the story. So I decided that I was going to try to come up with a rating scale, and I'm going to rate the horror factor on a skull scale, how many skulls out of 5. And then I'm going to rate the erotica factor on a bone scale, so how many bones out of 5 bones. So on the horror scale, I give this one skull out of 5. So this is a 1 skull story. It is not scary at all. And then as far as the erotica factor goes, I'm going to give this 1 bone. 1 bone. Because it is not very erotic. So, yeah, it was just really silly. I don't think the writing was as bad as some of the other stories in this collection, but the premise was ridiculous. So I will read you a couple of excerpts from this delightful tale. People liked him because he became one of them, because he used their language, because he said, "So the bitch don't work so good, huh?" to the guys in the machine shops that used his company's products, and because he told marketing managers that he would make his report just as soon as I accessed the data and interface with my associates. Leonard was adaptable, and at that he well knew was why he was going places in Benson Industries. When he woke up 15 minutes later, he did not get upset about the growth of new, black, wiry hair on his hands. He was too busy being upset about the way his fingernails had grown into hooked claws. But that was before he noticed that his body, which was also covered with wiry dark hair, was about 3 times its normal size and had burst out of its clothing. The thing that upset him the most, however, was that he could see his nose. Not see it as he'd always seen it before, a little pink lump when he went cross-eyed, but really see it, far enough out there to be in focus. It was too black and moist. He felt Lisa begin to convulse and speed it up. After they both shuddered for the last time, she collapsed on top of him. "You are incredible. You are an absolute stud bull," she said huskily, and in another moment he knew that it hadn't been the boy's fault after all. As he struggled to extricate the tip of his right horn from Lisa's left earring, he heard the bed frame crunch beneath his weight. He thought that perhaps there was such a thing as being too adaptable. My problem with that last bit I just read was speed it up Now, I do not have an English degree, but would it not be sped up? He's sped up, not speeded up? Somebody, correct me if I'm wrong. And then also, I don't know that I've ever called anyone a stud bull. So, that's kind of weird. But do what makes you happy. But I've never said that in the heat of the moment. So yeah, like I said, I don't think the writing was necessarily as bad as some of the other stories, but obviously, as you can ascertain from those excerpts, it was not great. And the premise was pretty silly. So like I said, 1 skull out of 5 on the horror scale, and 1 bone out of 5 on the erotica scale. 1 out of 5. No. Alright, so that is going to be it for me today. If you have read this by chance, let me know what you think of it. As always, if you have any suggestions for anything you think I should read for this segment, let me know. And as usual, there'll be some links down below where you can find Sue and I elsewhere in social media. If you're not already subscribed to the restricted section, you should do it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.